Takes me a second. All right. Hello, everybody. I am Monica with Anywhere But Here Travel, and I welcome you to our cooking class today. It's a French cooking class, and we have quite a large gathering of people, so it's super exciting. I don't know, I didn't look to see how many people were joining us. Oh, looks like about 24. 24 people are here, so that's really great. So I think most people are going to be muted, and that's totally fine. You can unmute yourself at any point to jump in and ask questions. You can use the chat if you would prefer, and Tia and Andrea will be monitoring the chat, and they can kind of help jump in and ask your questions on your behalf. I know it sometimes gets a little confusing if there's a lot of people trying to talk at the same time, but yep, that's basically it. In case you don't know who Anywhere But Here Travel is, we are a local travel agency in Linwood, Washington, which is about 30 minutes or so north of Seattle, Washington. I know we have people joining us from all over the world and all over the United States, so just that's just an FYI. And if you haven't used a travel agent before, why haven't you? We help alleviate the stress and frustration of planning your vacations. And, you know, even more so nowadays with the pandemic and all the travel restrictions, that even really simple trips that you would have felt more confident to plan on your own, you know, you might want to consider checking in with us and seeing if we can help you out. We just help make things, like I said, easy and simple. We take care of, you know, looking at all the, you know, restrictions, and we monitor everything for you, and we just really help and assist you out a lot. So that's basically in a nutshell who we are. You know, some people just love to plan their own travel, and that's awesome and great. But, you know, if you want to have it run by us, your local, you know, travel professional, we can help you out. And even with that, even if you say, okay, just I want you to review everything and help me book it. So, or if you just need assistance with planning everything, we can definitely help with that too. So, just a couple of FYI items. We will be sharing the full recipe with you via email after this event. You just have to give me a couple of days to type up everything. Sometimes Aldo will help me and send over instructions as well, but most of the time I just type up what he's done over the course of our cooking class. And I also have a sample itinerary from France that I would love to share with you as well, just to kind of give you an idea of what you can do when, you know, the borders open again and we can travel again. This is just kind of our way of keeping the travel dreams alive and making sure that, you know, we're ready to go when everybody's ready to travel again. So our cooking classes have been extremely popular. We've done other kinds of presentations online, just more destination focused presentations. You know, we've done a polar expeditions, we've done some with like the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta, things like that. But these cooking classes just seem to be knocking it out of the park for us. So we're really happy with that, and super grateful for Aldo and his team for helping us put all this together. We do have another cooking class coming up next week. It'll be a Portugal focused dish, and that'll be our last one for now, but we are always open to planning new events and having more things to share with you. So I think that is about it. Like, again, if you have any questions about France, or if you have anything that you want to know about, you know, traveling to France, feel free to throw those all into the chat, and we'll do our best to answer those as well. So with that, I'm going to have our team members just do a quick little introduction to themselves, maybe, you know, what travel specialties they focus on. Because if I do the introduction, the online recording doesn't show their face. So if you talk and introduce yourself, then it'll show up on the recording. So Tia, can you introduce yourself, please? I think she's unmuting herself.
Yeah, I have to unmute myself first. Hi, I am Tia with Anywhere But Here Travel, and I am the cruise specialist as well as the Caribbean, and Portugal happens to be one of my specialties as well, kind of leading into Spain. So it's great to see you all here, and I look forward to cooking with you. Well, actually, my co-chef is going to cook for you. I'm going to be on here keeping track of y'all.
Great. And I know Andrea is around. She's been feeling under the weather, so she probably will not turn on her camera, but I believe she's around. And Andrea, can you introduce yourself?
Well, why not? Yes, I am here. First of all, thank you all for being here. It's so exciting. I have been a little bit under the weather, but it makes me actually feel so much better to like see all these people just ready to cook and have a good time with us. So glad that you're here. My name is Andrea King. I'm the CEO of Anywhere But Here Travel. Some might say I'm the boss, but that's not really true. Tia and Monica really are the bosses around here. Aldo, of course, our chef, to be here and cook for us. Thank you so much, or cook with us, I should say. I'm just here for the food, to be honest. So let's get cooking, and you don't need to hear about me. Let's just get some food going, right? So anyway, thanks for being here.
All right, thank you. We do have another team member, Kara, who was not able to join us this afternoon. She is one of our newest members of our team, and she's been focusing a lot on actually the local travel here in the Seattle area. We've had a couple of requests for that. So myself, I kind of specialize in Hawaii, Japan, Tahiti. Of course, we all, I think, do Mexico. And a little bit of Europe. I do a little bit more of the Northern Europe countries, and Andrea does more of the Southern Europe, like Italy and France and all that stuff. So anyways, that is all for now from us. And I want to turn it over to Aldo, our chef extraordinaire. I need to make him the presenter or spotlight or whatever it's called. Spotlight. There we go. Aldo, take it away.
Bonjour.
Thank you. And cheers.
Bonjour, bonsoir. So to everybody that is, if you're drinking, à votre santé, this is how we say in French. So the first things I have to say is, if you're cooking with me, turn on your oven and put it 400 degrees now.
400?
It's going to take sometimes to get there. And so, we're going to be ready as soon as we want the temperature of the oven to be ready to 400 degrees. So that's the first thing. This recipe, it's a very traditional, typical French recipe called coq au vin, and coq is rooster. It became very popular with the extremely popular book of Julia's Child, her French, world famous French cuisine book. And and this recipe just boom and became very famous in the US. So coq au vin, again, coq means rooster. So originally the recipe was done with the rooster. It's not really done like that anymore. First of all, it's not really a chicken that you can find everywhere. So second, it's a very gamey meat. It's hard to cook. So basically, it's just, we call it coq au vin, but it should be poulet au vin, and poulet means chicken in French. So, but anyway, so this is the coq au vin. The recipe is quite simple in general. However, there's a lot of steps involved. So it's more time consuming than any other recipe that we've done in the past with this cooking class series. So, we're going to go probably a little over the usual time that it takes to finish a dish, especially because online you find this recipe done in 5-7 minutes, but of course they cut all the parts. In here, we do the real thing from the beginning to the end, and at the end, it's just be on the table and start eating. So that's the difference. I'm gonna switch to my table, and you're gonna see here the chicken. Okay, I marinated this chicken overnight with all the different vegetables, which are basically the pearl onions, the carrots, the onions and some herbs, 2 herbs. One is the thyme, which is this. I'm lucky enough to still have this from my garden. And the other one is bay leaves. If you haven't done these steps, no worries. This is just something extra that I did. We already have these ingredients, a lot of recipe, even on French books, they do not go through the marination process. They even go straight just to make it much, easier and faster. They don't go through this process. But with the cooking classes this cooking class series, I always, guide you through the original recipe and after a few either shortcuts or some twists. So you have the whole picture. And if you have time to do this, then you'll do it. If you don't have time, it will be an exceptional dish as well. So no problem. So this is the chicken marinated with wine. The first step that we're going to do, I'm going to move a little bit here, my wine.
And that's the thing too, Aldo. Like if this is the first time cooking with us, yes, the bay leaf was not on the original ingredient list, but we just make do. If you don't have it, if you do, you can throw it in. We're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants a little bit.
No, absolutely. And again, you may find a lot of different recipes, even very true original, where they say they don't have the bay leaves, but they have just general herbs. Some very good French cookbooks, they're going to say, well, I have the herbe de Provence, the Provençal herbs. And that's fine as well. So, it's very difficult to find the really original recipes of these dishes because they go back in time. So it's very difficult. This is one that I really know and that I found that I believe it's pretty original, but I'm not discarding the fact that there are other recipes extremely similar to this. They may gonna use different herbs and they're as original as this one. So don't go crazy about the herbs. These are my herbs. You're gonna find again hundreds of different recipes, very reputable, from very reputable chefs that they're gonna use different ones. So again, so this is the chicken. I have this, marinade here. If you haven't done this, the first steps will be to take the carrots and cut it in small pieces, like this. Okay, about this thick. And also to slice the onions, and you can slice this in larger pieces. I mean, you don't have to be, very, very small ones. And after, another one that I have is just the pearl onion, and again, just pieces like this. So you want to cut your vegetables right now about with this size, and you're gonna put them on the side. What I need to do here is just to take all my pieces of chicken and I have to put them on the side. And I do this because I need to separate now this marinade, which is basically also the wine and the vegetables from the chicken. And also I need to dry the chicken before I cook it. So that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. I have a lot of pieces of chicken. I mean, it always depends how many people you're going to feed. Tonight, I'm lucky enough that I'm going to be with very close friends, and this is what we're going to have. So I needed to have more pieces of chicken for me because I'm not going to eat this by myself. Oh, one thing that I also forgot if you do the marinade, just also put some pepper grains like this.
Some what?
Pepper.
Oh, did you do whole peppercorns or did you do ground?
The whole peppercorn.
Okay, I had mine all ground up. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not gonna make too much difference. I'm following my recipe, but it's not gonna change. We're gonna filter anyway all this, so we're gonna be left only with the wine at some point, and so it doesn't really matter.
Aldo,
Hey.
Yes.
Great question on here. And just, I could make up my own answer, but I'd rather ask you. So as far as the chicken itself, I can see that's dark meat. What about chicken breast? If somebody wanted to do this, with a little maybe healthier kick and use some chicken breast instead of
Yes,
thigh,
I mean,
how would
absolutely.
you change that up?
Ultimately, you can use whatever piece of chicken you like. I mean, these the two, like the chicken tights and this one are the two pieces of chicken that this recipe calls. I mean, it should requires if you want to stick to the original plan, but I don't see any
Right.
difference in using any other one.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing
Absolutely.
I would think is just maybe cooking time and checking, because I know for a non-chef like myself, when I try and use chicken breast, it's usually dry, and thighs and such are very forgiving, thank goodness for me. So yeah, I would say you could definitely use that chicken breast, just keep in mind the cook time, so that you don't overcook it.
Yeah, absolutely. So here I
Thank you.
separated it. The one thing that I have to do is I have to dry the chicken, because a lot of people don't do these steps and they just put it, with a lot of moistures and water and liquids when they cook it in a pan. And then at that point, you're not really creating that brown crust, but you're creating a lot of steam, and therefore it's a different cooking process. You're kind of steaming, your chicken. You're not really like frying in a little bit and giving that crust, which is what we want in this recipe. So I'm gonna take some paper towel here, and I'm just gonna dry this the best I can. Okay.
And if you're not marinating your chicken, you're just drying it, as you're
Drying
taking
no
it
matter
out.
what.
Yeah.
No matter what, you have
Take
to
it out of the
wash.
package. Yeah.
Yeah, you wash your chicken, of course, and after you're going to dry it. And I'm gonna do this, okay, on both sides. And again, these are the different. This is why this recipe takes a little bit of time. You gotta be patient. Nothing complicated. It's just a little time consuming with all these steps if you want to follow the original recipe.
Yeah, I forgot to warn people that this will take a little bit more than an hour than we usually try to keep it within an hour. This one's going to take a little bit more than that. I forgot to warn you.
Yeah, but in the meantime, you can have a nice glass of wine while you're cooking. So I guess you'll survive.
Yeah. I got some wine that Andrea and I got on our wine cruise a couple years ago. So it's the only wine I could find. It's delicious. And
Yeah.
I'm having a little glass with my meal.
Yeah, as far as wine, I mean, if you really want to do like a French dinner or meal in general, then you will have a French wine. But honestly, it's whatever wine you like.
Okay.
Personally, right now, I have a Pinot Noir. I have a lot of wine still in my house, and I honestly didn't feel like going out and buying a French bottle. So I'm using like a Pinot Noir from California right now. But it's up to you. It's whatever wine you have or whatever wine you like.
Okay. Mine's a Syrah from Eastern Washington.
There you go. Let's go local. Okay, so I think I did a pretty good job in having everything like dry as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna put this on the side for a little bit. The next step will be, maybe in the meantime you already cut all your vegetables. Hopefully, if you're cooking with me, I'm just a little step ahead because it's already done in the marinade. But if you haven't done, we can wait for you. With this, now I needed to filter it. So I needed to filter it because I want to from the vegetables. So this is what I'm going to do. So I filter this. There you go.
Oh, I got to get a strainer out and filter out. Okay, but we're saving the wine that we marinated in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're
Okay.
not throwing anything.
We use everything, right? I can almost smell that. It just looks so good with the wine and the veggies. Mm.
Oh my God, Andre, it smells so good just with the wine. Oh my goodness.
Good.
Yeah, this is definitely a flavorful recipe. This is,
Oh,
you know,
great.
it's a winter dish. You know, we're gonna add a lot of butters, you know, some fats here and there, the bacon and everything, the wine. So this is, if you're on a diet, I don't know, probably not the right one. But as we
Yeah.
know, all the good things, they're never recommended on a diet.
Of course, that's right.
We're all
Tastes
starting our
good.
diet tomorrow.
That's our problem. Yeah, we always started on, you know,
On
every
Monday.
week, every time we do a cooking class, we started on Monday, right?
Yeah. And Aldo, did you mention what the marinade as far as what you put in there? I know you said wine.
Yes.
Do we
I
have a
put in
list
there
of
exactly
what's in
this.
the
So there are
marinade?
the carrots,
Uh-huh.
there are the onions. Uh, Here,
see
just I have a little
peppercorn.
piece. I have the pearl onion somewhere, but I think they kind of disintegrated.
Okay.
I cannot see them, but anyway. And after it's herbs, so I have this bay leaf,
Okay, the bay leaf, that's right.
and
And then
after the thyme
okay. And then the
and
wine.
the peppercorns.
Okay. Easy.
So it's pretty easy. I mean, again, if you don't have these herbs, just you know, you can put whatever herbs you have.
Right.
Herb de Provence will be fine. I mean, I would put even maybe oregano or you know, whatever you have. And if you don't have anything, it'll be fine as well.
Right. And as a reminder, the marinade is just an extra thing you did. It's not a necessity for this recipe.
No, it's an extra thing. Basically, it's a way of putting even more wine flavor into the meat because as you can see, you know, the color that you get, right? So
My chicken is really purple.
yeah, it's because
I
of the
don't know if
pepper.
you guys can see how purple my chicken is. That is purple. I'll take a picture.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, that's just one extra step. If you want to work on maybe the day before, but even maybe 2-3 hours prior, I mean, as long as it's in a while for a little bit, it'll be fine. So now I'm going to put these just on the side again. Our next step is to put this wine, and we're going to put it just to reduce it a little bit on the burner.
On the stove?
Okay.
Okay.
On the stove.
So
I
for
need
the
to find.
folks who didn't the marinade, and I'm asking some questions because I have a couple chat questions on here, and unfortunately I'm under the weather, so I'm not in the kitchen. I don't want to make everybody sick, but the people who have not done the marinade, they're starting out with raw ingredients. Is
Yes.
it just basically kind of making that marinade right there and then just soaking
Yeah.
it for a minute?
Basically, we're going to incorporate all these ingredients, you know, as we cook. So
Okay.
yeah, the marinade is just to give an extra flavor if you want to your chicken, and that's about it.
Okay.
Like when you
So for an
marinate
extra
whatever
recipe,
piece of
you
meat.
Okay. So then you
Yeah.
want to reduce, you're going to do a wine reduction now, reduction now as the next step.
Yeah. So
Okay, awesome.
now we're gonna put this wine. So you would basically put the wine into here, into a pot, and we'll put it on the stove. Medium heat, not too high, okay?
It looks like you have a lot more wine than I do, Aldo.
Yeah, but I probably have a lot more chicken. I mean, I have a lot. But you know, you don't have to use everything. If we see that at some point the wine is just too much, you don't have to use it.
Huh.
So, but I have a lot of wine. I have a lot of chicken, so that's probably the reason why. And I'd rather have probably more than a little less. So
Okay.
you're okay.
I'll just add a little bit more to mine. That's
Yeah.
all. I have a whole bottle. It's only me drinking. I think my chicken. I think my chicken soaked up the wine.
Yeah, it does, definitely. So we're gonna put this here on the stove. The next one is the chicken broth.
Hmm.
Now you can also do the chicken broth from scratch. So the water, the chicken bones, and the carrots, the onions, and you let it boil and you create the broth. I'll definitely skip that step. I think there's just a lot of organic broth out there already made, and that's good enough for me. But if you really want to do that, then of course, no, you can do that.
So it says we need about a cup of the chicken broth.
So I buy the chicken broth, this organic here, and I'm just gonna put it into.
We're getting a new pan, right?
Yeah, a new pan.
I'm gonna use all my pans today.
I know. I mean, I have so many out that it's difficult to move around. So
No problem.
there you go. I'm not gonna put everything. I mean, you basically put like, 1 pound, half a liter. It's a gallon or something like that. So this, again, it goes on the stove, and because we are going to reduce this a little bit. But before we do this, we need to make this stock a little bit more dense, okay? And so we're going to do this with what the French call beurre meunier, which is butter meunier. It's a very nice, cool way that you can you say butter and flour. But if you want to fool with your guest and look like a pro, you just say beurre meunier. And now you'll just look a pro. So beurre meunier, it's equal amount of butter and flour, and we're gonna mix that together. Basically, it will be a way to thicken the broth, okay, the chicken broth. If you don't want to do the beurre meunier, because I'm just doing this because it's something I think interesting to learn. I mean, you're gonna find if you're really into cooking, you're gonna find this beurre meunier in a lot of different French recipes. So at least you know what it is. I mean, you can just sprinkle some flour and put some butter into this, heat it up, and the end result will come the same.
Aldo?
Yes.
Aldo, we got a couple of things here. First of all, when you turn away from the microphone, we can't hear you. We're having a problem with your microphone.
Okay.
Okay, and second of all, if you're using the brandy, do you put that in now as well?
No, where the brandy is going to be the next step, not right now.
Okay, thank you.
No. So now is the beurre meunier. We need to put the wine on the stove to reduce a little bit, and now we're going to put the broth on the stove to reduce a little bit and to thicken a little bit. So that's what we're doing right now. So we're going to take some, flour, and we're going to mix this basically together. And this is what the French call beurre meunier. Just a fancy way of saying butter and flour. So we're doing this. And so you just mix it up. And this, if you want to do a lot of this, you can even save it and put it in a freezer or put it in your fridge. I mean, it'll be fine.
I think we're having some connection issues too. So sometimes you cut out, Aldo. So we might have to ask you to repeat a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why.
It's supposed to look like a thick paste, I guess. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a butter, soft, but with flour on it. So
Mhm.
that's what it is.
Is it better to like have your butter softened, I guess, before this?
Yeah, it's
I
probably
already
better
had
to,
mine sit out, so it's all
yeah,
good.
it's probably better, but usually with the, the temperature of your hand, the butter kind of melts and becomes soft quite quickly. So this is the beurre meunier.
I know it's so fancy. I saw somebody say it was fancy.
Yeah,
Saying it in French just makes it everything fancy.
yeah, it makes everything like you look like you're a professional, right? Anyway, so this is the beurre meunier, and I'm going to now put it a little bit in here into the broth, and it's gonna help just thicken the broth. We're gonna put this into the stove.
Okay, so you're maybe putting what, half or how
About
much?
yeah, about half.
Okay,
About like this.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
And you're just adding it to the chicken stock on the stove.
you can start on the stove.
Okay.
So let me just clean my hand a little bit, and I'll be right back in just a few seconds.
Okay. How's everybody else doing? Are you keeping up with us? I know some people are just watching, but if you're cooking with us, I'd love to know if you're ahead or behind us or
Yeah, I mean, let me know.
just check in.
I'm going to go slowly, but now this, we're going to put it on the stove, and we're just going to reduce it.
Okay.
Very easy. Again, medium heat, okay? You're not boiling anything. We're just reducing it. Once you put the flour and the butter, you need with a little whisk, which I lost.
Just an FYI, I'm looking through the chat notes and such. There was just the one area where the folks that didn't show up with the marinade, it could be a little confusing because they weren't sure what step they were on since they didn't have that marinade.
No, the
Otherwise,
step is I put the white wine in there. I cut the vegetables.
right.
And I'm heating the white wine medium temperature. I cut the vegetables and I put them on a side.
Right. And yeah, I think so. I think they got that. I haven't heard back, but hopefully, they're back on track with us. And if anybody else is having any issues or questions, please do jump in on the chat. Tia or myself will get on there and try and get an answer for you as soon as possible, so we can make sure everybody ends up with a delicious dish of food.
Yeah. So. I mean, I don't know. It was here, and oh, here it is.
He's still finding his whisk.
Okay, so you just want to mix this, and it's gonna be just a little thicker at some point, and we're just gonna let it go.
I gotta turn my wine down a little bit. It was starting to boil.
Yeah, no, you don't want it to boil. Okay, just low heat, you'll be fine.
My stove is very sensitive, so it's really hard to get it to be the right temperature. All right.
Okay, so that's basically the first step. Now we're going to start working with the chicken. So I go back to the chicken here.
Our pot of dry chicken. Okay.
The dry chicken. While the two liquids that we have are eating up and reducing. we're gonna start cooking and brown this piece of chicken. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of butter in here. The regular one.
Add a little butter to the pan.
Yeah.
A really, really big pan, right?
Well, yeah, it depends, of course, how many pieces of chicken you have.
Okay, I have a lot.
So here I have the butter. Put it on the stove. And I'm gonna let the butter melt.
How high should we have the temperature on the?
Well, again, you don't want to be too high. You want the butter to melt. It has to be, let's say, medium high.
Okay.
Okay. At the same time, you don't want to be too high because you don't want the butter to burn, and that will ruin everything.
Hey, Aldo, were we supposed to add the brandy in?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're not forgetting it because it sounds really good.
Oh, trust me, I'm not gonna forget this one.
Okay, all right, we're good.
It's right there in front of me. I'm not gonna forget about it. The cognac is actually, or you can use sherry. I mean, whatever it is. It's, I mean, it's very important part of this recipe. So there's no way we can forget it.
Well, it sounds delicious to me too. Well, everything's looking really good so far to me.
Yeah, so my butter is melted. I think the temperature is pretty good. I'm gonna start this process of putting all the pieces of chicken in here.
Okay.
And we're not really cooking them. We're just creating the little crust all around.
Okay, so we're browning them.
Browning
Making sure
them.
nice and brown. Okay. Oh, then my chicken is slippery. Watch out.
Aldo, you said you're going to have some guests over to eat, but I didn't get my invite. So just curious what happened there.
So I'm gonna do the sides first. I don't have enough room to do everything, so I have to split it in two.
Oh, great question.
The temperature you want it to be at this point once you put the chicken, because it's gonna drop. I mean, you want to turn it a little higher, right?
Are you using
Because the temperature right now is just dropping dramatically.
Okay, yeah, I apologize for cutting in. Are you using a skinless chicken or with skin?
So it really, it's up to you. I mean, in drumstick here, I have the skin. On these sides, I took it off just because it was a very large piece of skin on it. And I just personally didn't like that. So that's the reason why I decided to take it off. But you can leave it in, absolutely. I saw actually a lot of recipes where they just leave it in. But in this case, the chicken that I found, the skin was just way too much.
Okay, so you took it
So
off.
I left it in here, but I took it off from these big pieces.
Okay. Now, and the original recipe, do you know if it's with the skin? Did I cut out?
I don't think he heard you.
Okay, yeah.
No,
In
because
the
I have the
original
noise of the chicken cooking. Say that again.
Sorry. In the original recipe, do you know that if they cook with the skin or without? In the original?
Yeah, most likely they're gonna leave a little bit of skin on it.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know that probably has a better taste because this, sometimes the skin is, or some people think the skin's the best part, but then if you're trying to watch calories, which you really shouldn't even try to watch calories if you're making French food, but if you are, then the skin obviously coming off might be helpful.
It smells like chicken in here. It smells like chicken and wine in here.
Yeah, mine is sizzling away, so I'm gonna keep myself muted. I don't know how noisy it is on my end, but it's looking and smelling good.
Who are you feeding tonight, Aldo?
Sorry?
Who are you feeding tonight?
A bunch of friends that sail with me, and because that's my passion is sailing.
Awesome.
And I'm also a sailing instructor, and because we know that we are pretty conscious about the COVID, and so we know that it's pretty safe to get together among us.
Wonderful. That's good. I love
So
it.
now the pieces of chicken are kind of getting smaller, so I have more room to add more of my drumstick. So again, it just takes a little bit of time because unlike other videos, we're doing everything live. So and once they're done and you see that they have a little crust on top of it, then you can put them on the side. And personally, I'm gonna put it in here.
Somebody needs to make smell-o-vision or something so we can also smell this, because I can imagine the scent right now. I'm sure it's so wonderful. A question for you on the chat: how long do you cook the chicken? My guess is since you're just browning it until it's brown.
Yeah, just you have the little brown crust on top, and that's it, because we're gonna cook these things for like 30 minutes in the oven.
In the oven. Okay, perfect.
So just get that crust and you're done.
How long have you been sailing, Aldo?
Oh, many, many years.
Have you? How fun.
A lot of years. And yeah, I became sailing instructors a lot of years ago, and I teach in a sail club, a non-for-profit in Chicago, and to another one that we kind of teach or take people with handicap on sailboats in Lake Michigan.
Wow.
Yeah, it's called the Judd Goodman Sailing Club, and it's pretty nice.
You're so diverse. He cooks.
It's amazing how people, with very, very severe handicap, what they can do. It's unbelievable.
Yep. I agree. That's beautifully said. Thank you.
Okay, so mine, they're brown, so I'm just taking away as one by one. I'm making more room. So how are the chefs doing? Are they with us?
Yeah, I'm almost
Anita,
done.
you're good.
Yeah.
Barbara?
I'm good. I'm like, I have one more piece of chicken to add to the pan.
Lisa?
Yeah, I'm looking at the photos of everybody, and they look like they're coming right along with you. Anybody?
Yeah, I think we're all doing okay.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look too. You all look very French right now. Beautiful French cooking. I love it. Debbie and Johnny, you guys doing okay? You guys look like you're rocking over there. Good. Awesome. I'm super jealous because I'm not cooking and I want some of this really bad. So just living vicariously through all of you tonight.
And unfortunately, Andrea's in Vegas and Tia and I are in Washington State. Otherwise, we'd be sharing our food with you.
Yeah,
I have so much food here. I don't know what my family's going to do. I just hope to God my kids love it. They came by and they're like, what is that? It smells like alcohol. I'm like, it's wine.
Cooks off, kid.
Someday they'll understand.
Oh, they will. And now they'll look just so comfortable in there cooking along. How wonderful would it be to be Aldo's friend in Chicago?
Yeah.
Seriously. That cooks for people.
Okay, I'm getting close to have all my chicken with a little brown crust.
I'm down to my last few pieces of chicken here. They're almost done browning.
Okay, awesome.
My butter is very flattery. I gotta be careful.
Hey, Aldo, we've got a really good question. Aldo, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Lisa says, if I don't have an oven-safe pot, can I cook it on the stove so that I can get all the browning goodness, or should I put it in a large pan on the oven?
No, the oven is either way. I mean, I saw a lot of chefs just doing it also on the pan, but probably the oven is better. Whatever is best for you. If you put it on the pan, it needs to be the oven. You know, it's more like even heat all around. That's why it's more recommended. If you put it on the pan, the heat is straight from the bottom. So that's just the difference. I mean, you need to put an eye on it. If you do it on the pan, just to make sure that it doesn't burn. That's why the oven is kind of safer. You put in there and you forget about it. But whatever is more comfortable. Definitely a lot of people just do it on the pan. As long as you can cover it. Okay. Here we go. So now on this same here, what we're going to do is we're going to put our vegetables, and we're going to cook the vegetable in the same pan, okay?
That's after you take out all the chicken?
Yes, you take all
okay.
the chicken.
I'm almost there.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
Oh, look how fancy you are.
Yeah, I know, I'm showing off right now.
Did you learn that in France
No,
or in Italy?
no. I'm gonna take the herbs a little bit because I have too many here. I'm not gonna throw them away because we're gonna put them back once we put this in the oven.
Okay, I'm adding my vegetables now.
There you go.
As a quick and selfish reminder, when everything is said and done here, we would love to have pictures of your finished product before you eat it. It's gonna be hard to wait, but you know, just to have a fun picture of it, or even if you have some pictures of you cooking during, you know,
Hey, Aldo,
Yes.
are we supposed to add the mushrooms now or later?
No, we're gonna do this later.
Okay, thank you.
Mushrooms and the bacon are basically kind of a garnish. So again, here just a few minutes. Nothing more than that. Put the temperature on medium high again.
It's smelling pretty good in here.
Awesome.
What about the garlic, Aldo? Is that coming later?
Yeah, the garlic, I'll put it with the mushrooms.
Okay. Just an FYI, if anybody wants to make this and ship it to me, I'll take it without the.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, garlic. She's gonna do that with the mushrooms. Okay. Just making
So
sure
I
we
have
got
a
everybody's.
lot of piece of chicken. I'm not sure I'll be able to put everything into here. That's why I have several pots, because I may need to split mine in two different ones. We'll see. So if you have a big pot, all this process, you can actually do it directly in here. Like you do your chicken, you do your vegetables, you know, you brown the chicken, everything in here if you have a big one. I don't have a big one, so unfortunately I needed to use this, so I need to just to move things around, but you can just do all in one big pot.
Oh, good, because that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and that's the way to go. So I'm just removing this.
How long are we cooking the vegetables?
Just a few minutes, really. As soon as you see that the onions are starting like a little softer,
Oh,
then you're basically good to go.
oh, okay.
This is gonna cook a long time, 30 minutes in the oven. So you're fine.
Okay, okay. I'm with you now. I'm with you.
So I'm gonna do this like this. So now you have to take the vegetable off.
What kind of pan are you putting it in?
I'm gonna put it in this one that is a little taller, right?
Oh,
So it will contain everything. We're going to add the pieces of chicken.
and if I have a big enough pot, I'm putting everything in the pot again then.
Yes, everything,
Okay.
everything in one.
Okay. So I'm putting my chicken in the pot. Okay.
So I'm gonna need to split this in two because again, I don't have enough room. But here, now you have your flambe.
I'm going to flambe. Oh my God.
I told you I won't forget about it.
I better not burn anything down.
To flambe, just turn the heat a little higher.
Okay.
Oh, this should be fun to watch.
So you put it on. I won't put everything, but you just put it on top.
I'm going to watch you for, oh,
Woo!
How pretty.
oh
Really,
boy.
yeah. And now you're just burning the whole alcohol, basically.
How much did you put on there?
So I had this, half a
Oh.
glass.
Okay.
Yep.
That's very European, half a glass.
It's so weird. Just half a glass.
Okay, a little bit more.
A little bit more? Oh boy.
There we go.
I still have a nice flame.
Anybody else do the flame? I'm looking. Debbie and Johnny got it. Awesome. You guys are like, we're like all real chefs now. Look at us.
My lighter won't work. Oh my gosh. This one out.
How
I'm
fun.
actually probably able to do everything in this one. I think I can. So I still have a flame going on. That means there's still a lot of alcohol content burning.
I don't know. My flames are not working. I need a new what do you call it? Lighter.
We have a note from Ivan. Ivan says, a few interesting notes about coq au vin. Some legends trace back the dish to ancient Gaul and even Julius Caesar, but the first document of this dish appeared in 1864 cookbook.
Wow. That's quite a long time ago.
So if you can't get your brandy to flame up, is that going to be okay?
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. I mean, it's just, with the alcohol content, it can be a little bitter. That's why you burn the alcohol content when you put
Okay.
wine in things. So you're left just with the taste of the wine. So that's just probably,
I'm just going to let it cook.
yeah, the issue that you will have. But I mean,
Okay.
at the end,
My lighter just doesn't want to cooperate with me.
it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so we're just doing a quick ingredient check.
Okay,
These
so now
are on it with the ingredients. So we're still looking at mushrooms, bacon, and tomato paste and garlic.
Yeah. So now what we have to do is this chicken is it's done. What we need to do is we need to add the broth and the wine. But before we do this, we see that the wine, once you put it in the oven, on the stove, see has these little things on top?
Mm-hmm.
We need to take that one off.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can take that one off in different ways. An easy one would be like to use a filter or something like this.
Mm.
So I have a little one. I'm just gonna take it off. See, it creates like a skin almost, right? Do you see it?
Yeah.
So just do the best you can. I have several tools, so I can go with the small one now.
I'm just
Or
gonna
you can,
strain.
or you can filter this. I mean, if you have a filter, if you have a cloth, you can filter it, and then it'll be even a more perfect job. If you can do that with a cloth, that would be even better. But this one just works. So here's the wine. I'll need to split my chicken into those two because it's enough. It's just too big.
But since I'm using a big enough pan, I could just add the wine
Oh yeah, if you're
to the
lucky,
big.
yes, absolutely.
Okay. I just use a strainer to get the gunk off.
Yeah. I'm just splitting in two because mine is not big enough.
Yeah, that stuff that comes off that wine doesn't look very appetizing.
What was it? I didn't see it very well. What is it that kind of collects at the top there?
I don't know. It's kind of like a thick.
It's
Uh,
from the chicken that they marinated in the wine ahead of time. It's probably chicken fat.
Oh,
It's
got
the-
it.
chicken fat. Oh,
Yeah, it's in the wine when you cook it, just mix that too on top.
Got it.
So
I'll share a picture with you later. It's not very appetizing looking.
Okay, thank you.
no. So now I'm just gonna add the broth. I'm gonna split this in two. Some here, some here.
My broth is pretty thick.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Is that good? Okay. It reduced, I guess, a lot. So I'm going to scrape all that yummy goodness out into my pan.
And now we put the wine. And again, I'll split
I still
it.
have the heat on. Is that good?
Yeah, we're gonna use it, put it right now. Okay. I cover one.
Okay.
I cover the second. And we put it in the oven.
Oh, okay. I gotta get my oven mitts out. Oh, I need to take a rack out. I don't have a big enough space. Hold on. I gotta put this outside.
There you go.
I didn't plan that ahead of time. I would take a rack out of my oven so I can put this all in there.
It's okay, no rush.
Okay, so I got my pot in the oven.
Oh, I forgot to put the herbs. Hold on.
What did we forget?
No, I just
Aldo
forgot to put back my little herbs.
Oh. I just saw from Ivan, it's 11:13 p.m. here and he's ready to eat again by watching us cook.
How's everyone doing? We all getting our stuff into the oven? We all in about the same spot? Everybody feeling good? You gotta be starving smelling that. I can't even.
We're getting close to the end of this anyway.
Love
There are a
it.
lot of pans, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Nice. Somebody else is going to do the dishes at my house. That's the deal. I cook, somebody else does the dishes, right?
Your son will do it.
Well, usually it's my husband. If I can get the kids to do it, yes, that's great. But you know, they're teenagers.
Yes.
It's like pulling teeth.
So now.
All right, what are we doing?
Now we're going to cut the bacon.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna cut the bacon and we're gonna cut the mushrooms.
Okay.
So this bacon is, I like to have, in French, they call it lardon, you know, lard. And so you want to have, if possible, like a thicker bacon. Okay. I like the one that is smoked for flavor. And we're going to cut it in like larger pieces.
My bacon was thinner cut than that, but yeah, it looks good.
You see, right?
Yeah. Your bacon looks really good.
So larger pieces like this.
What kind of pan do we need?
Well, honestly, I'm running out of tools. So I have to use this one where I cook the chicken on. Because that's all. I'll use that. I'll use this one. But you know, whatever other pan you have will be fine.
Okay, because the pan I use to cook the chicken is in the oven, so I'm just gonna get another pan.
Yeah, just grab another one.
Yeah, like this. Yeah.
Your husband's doing the dishes. Don't worry about how many pans you use.
Exactly. All right.
Okay, so I've turned the heat back on. And we're gonna put all this nice bacon on it. And we want the bacon to be kind of crisp. there's no need to add any butter or anything, in my opinion, just because the bacon will release enough of its own fat. So it'll be fine. I'm gonna make a little bit more room. Here you go.
Yeah, okay.
I can hear the sound of this sizzling. And if you want to do this like ahead of time, you can probably do this process even way before you cook this whole dish. I mean, you can do the day before and you just put it on the side. Even the mushrooms that we're gonna cook in here, you can do the same thing. You can do it before, and after it's gonna be more kind of a assembling thing. So that's another thing that you can do.
And if you're allergic to mushrooms like Andrea, you can skip the mushrooms.
Well, yeah, unless she wants to go to the hospital.
Yeah, right. We've had enough
Okay.
hospital visits for her.
I don't think she needs that anymore.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Enough. Yeah, the original recipe definitely calls for the mushrooms, but of course, you know, you'll definitely skip that.
Okay, so the stuff I have left over are the mushrooms, the garlic, and the half of the butter and flour mixture.
That butter and flour, we're going to do it once we take the chicken that right now is in the oven. We're gonna take that pot off. We're gonna take what's inside the chicken off, okay? And we're going to thicken that broth a little bit more with the remaining beurre meunier.
Okay.
And
My bacon is sizzling away here.
yes, mine too. This one, I like it to be crusty because it's not gonna cook with the chicken. And I like you have definitely a bite to it, right? Like a crunchy bacon.
Okay, you want it nice and crispy?
Yes. You want to make it crispy.
All right. I don't know if you can hear my bacon sizzling, but it's sizzling away over here.
Here too. So see, there's already, I mean, there's a lot of fat here from, there's no need to add any butter. I mean, I saw, like I was a French chef, he put a lot of butter in there. I honestly think that that's enough.
Well, that's a French chef for you. Lots of butter.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they're pretty heavy on butter, but I think there's a limit. Yeah.
All right. Tia, how's your crew doing?
We're looking pretty good over here. Barbara's got that bacon running up nice for us.
Great. I think Andrea's dropping out. She's a little tired, so she says thank you very much, Aldo, for your time. And I think she's going to take a little rest. But we're all good here. So I think, Tia, you're going to have to take over for her.
Oh,
So we have a good question from Laura. She wants to know, what are some good side dishes to serve with this?
so one of my favorite would be mashed potatoes because you're gonna have a lot of, sauce or like gravy, the one that is gonna be this inside now, the pot that it's in the oven, and I think that would be just perfect. Another one that I like would be Brussels sprouts that you can cook them on the side or in the oven. And I think that's a very good one as well.
Those both sound great.
I've got some roasted root vegetables and a side salad and some garlic bread.
Ooh.
There you go. So my bacon is almost done. It's getting pretty crispy here.
Mine's still working on it here. My bacon, maybe I should turn it up a little bit. I don't know. I kind of don't want my bacon to splatter me either, so I kind of be careful. All right.
So I'm just gonna take the bacon off.
Yeah, mine's got a little bit more to go.
And I'll put it here.
There we go. I think my bacon is a little leaner than yours, Aldo.
Yeah.
Let's add a little bit of, just a little bit of butter. Mine's healthy though. I have healthy butter.
The healthy version. Okay.
Yeah. Plant-based butter. There we go. Now it's starting to brown up a little bit better. How's everybody else doing? Yeah, I see some nods. Okay, good, good.
Okay. So here I have on the side the bacon.
Okay.
Just so you can see, this is the way I personally like it.
Oh yeah, that looks good.
So it's crispy, it's good, but it's not burned at the same time, so it's fine. Good. So now we're going to do the mushrooms.
Okay.
I have a lot of mushrooms here. The reason why I have a lot of mushrooms is because my mushrooms were like reaching kind of time limit. I don't want to throw away food, so I'm going to cook them all. Okay. So
Okay.
mushroom, but this is just me because I don't want to throw them away.
How much are we normally putting in the dish? Maybe half of that?
This is like a garnish, so you know it's pretty much how many mushrooms you want. I would do something like this, like to cover the pan.
Okay.
Again, in my case, I have to put them all in there because it would be a shame to throw them away. So either I cook them now or never.
And we're just kind of slicing them up kind of thickly, is that?
So that's just the reason why. In here, you'll add your garlic.
Oh, and you add the garlic at this time too. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just slicing up my mushrooms, so.
Yeah. The reason why you don't see me doing the garlic is because I made a mistake and my garlic's gone bad.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do, instead of the garlic, I'm gonna add, you know, here the onions. Some more onions again because I like them. But, you know.
You kind of use what you have, don't you?
You use what you have, you don't throw away food. So I have to cook all these mushrooms. It would be such a shame to throw them out. And I bought them at the time more than I needed. And
Yeah.
that's the problem.
Well, you can have Andrea's portions of mushrooms. She'll gladly donate them.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like my bacon is almost done here. I need to take it out. Did you kind of drain it on a paper towel at all, or did you just take it out of the oil?
I didn't drain, I mean, I drained them just while I was taking them out of the oil.
Okay.
So they're kind of dry for me.
Okay.
I was able to drain enough oil, so.
Yeah, our bacon's just now almost done.
Yeah. So here I'm gonna turn the heat a little higher because again, when you use a stainless steel, as soon as you put something on it, the temperature drops. If you use the cast iron, the cast iron actually can keep the temperature right there. That's why a lot of meat and a lot of things are cooked in the cast iron because it just keeps the temperature. The stainless steel is pretty good. I mean, it's definitely probably one of the best material to cook with, but it has this downside, which is it just loses temperature very fast.
I don't usually cook with the stainless steel because it sticks.
Yeah, I know. That's one of the downside. On the other side, a lot of controversy about the non-sticking pan and the products that they use.
Yeah.
Not to be good for us. Cast iron, the other downside is that you need to cure it, all the time. So it's you create that patina.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just pro and cons with everything at the end. I have a mix of everything, but this is a large that I have, so my cast iron is way too small.
Mm.
So I cannot really use it.
Okay, well, I'm just finishing slicing up my mushrooms.
Awesome.
And we're just adding that to the pan with the garlic. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. I think I have a lot of mushrooms too.
So I know that some recipes will put the garlic instead at this stage here with the mushrooms. They may put it with the vegetables, the first vegetables that we cut it and we put in the pot in the oven.
Mm-hmm.
They may put the garlic in there. But at the end, you're gonna have garlic in your dish. So you'll find definitely some recipes where they add the garlic with the carrots and the onions and the pearl onions and the pepper.
And I just used like the bacon grease that was left in the pan. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, nice winter dish.
Oh my gosh, smells so good.
I'm drinking.
Take a sip of wine.
My Pinot Noir. Maybe even can find out some like a curiosity and funny stories.
How are we doing, Tia?
So the mushrooms here are getting like softer and there's like almost a little cream here, which is nice.
Oh my gosh, it smells so good.
Everything is coming along and we're basically towards the end because now, when did we put the chicken on? We put the chicken
like about 15 or 20 minutes ago, I think.
15 minutes ago. So we have 15 more minutes. And after we're just gonna assemble almost everything.
Great. Hopefully everybody is following along. I see some cooking people there. I can't see everybody on my screen, so. Looking good. Oh my gosh, I could eat just the mushrooms And the garlic.
Isn't that the great? The mushrooms and garlic, it's awesome combination. If you want here also, you can add some parsley if you have it with the mushrooms. In Italian,
Oh, yeah.
in Italian, the way we call it, it's like a trifolati. That's how we call the mushrooms when we make them, like with, you know, some kind of a fat, oil, garlic, and parsley. In Italian, we say trifolati.
Trifolati. Okay.
Aldo,
Yes.
have you ever tried cooking with plant-based butter?
No.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
Are you?
Plant-based butter?
Yeah.
So Monica is cooking with plant-based. Lisa is cooking with it as well, and she wondered if it works the same as dairy butter.
I actually have to admit that I never heard of plant-based.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
This is the one I'm using right now. Melt organic, rich and creamy butter made from plants.
okay.
Yeah.
I have to try that because I don't know it.
Lisa's, I only see plant butter. I don't know what kind or brand that is, but that looks good. I don't know. I have no problems, you know, with the stuff that I've used. So my son is allergic to dairy, so I always try to make something that is dairy friendly for him.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely good thing. So my mushrooms are basically done. I'm going to show you up close, like the consistency.
Mm.
See? So they're like soft and there's a little cream. So that's what we want.
Yes, that looks great.
Okay.
I had some parsley, so I'm just chopping some parsley up right now.
Yeah, parsley would be good. Unfortunately, I don't have it. I mean, I have the frozen one, but I don't like it. I think it's been in the freezer for too long and I don't like the taste anymore. But if you have it, just put it on. That would be nice.
Just add it to the mushrooms right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've tried different kinds of plant-based butters, and my son likes Earth Balance. That's his favorite one. So sometimes that's what I use, but this is one he didn't like, so I use it for cooking. So it just so happens to be what works. Oh, that looks pretty with the parsley. I love it. I'm going to take a picture of that.
Awesome.
Where's my camera? How's everybody else doing? I see some thumbs up. Yeah?
Yeah, thumbs up. We're almost at the end.
Good. Good. All right.
12 more minutes for the chicken.
And we still have the bacon on the side. Yeah?
Yeah, the bacon's on the side. If we want,
Yep.
actually, we can, once your mushrooms are cooked, we can add them in here.
Oh, okay. Oh, somebody asked about the tomato paste. Are we still going to use that?
Yeah, we can put the tomato paste in here if you have it. Unfortunately, I don't have it.
Okay.
But yeah, you can definitely put some tomato paste if you want to. I saw a lot of recipes from a French chef, and I have a French cookbook too. I mean, I have several ones, but in some they don't use the tomato paste. So again, we're always at the same point. You know, there's a lot of different original recipes.
So you just put some tomato paste in with all the mushrooms and stir it all up together. Okay.
Yeah, but the good things about cooking is you have some leeway.
And cooking with Otto is always different every time, right?
Yes, always, always, always.
All right, I feel good about this. All right. Had another sip of my wine. And I just use the tomato paste that comes in these little tubes.
Yes, yes.
So
Now another that you may find in recipes that claim, and they definitely are original, is that they're gonna put caramelize the pearl onion on the side.
oh,
So in a pot, they put the onions, they put the water, they put some sugar, and they let it like sit there with a medium heat for maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. And it's gonna caramelize the onions. Again, it's an extra step that I decided to take to skip it because again, this recipe, if you really follow everything, it just takes a long time. Too much. So, but again, just so you know, if you see that in some cookbooks, you'll remember that I told you that yes, it is part of the original recipe, but it takes a longer time.
well, I'm glad that you've made it a little bit quicker for us.
Yeah, we had to cut some steps. It's inevitable. This is the kind of very nice, good recipe that you will enjoy, but it just takes time.
Yeah.
So again, like I said, you can do some shortcuts by cooking things before. So the mushrooms, the pancetta or the bacon, you can definitely do it before, if you want to. The broth is basically done. So there's just a few steps you can make it shorter.
Okay. How are we doing, Tia?
Good. I see Debbie and John. I like, John, the way you put your how do you call it?
Tia, you're
Yeah.
muted.
That's very professional. I want to do the same thing like Tia. Here we go.
Cover the face.
That's
Tia,
awesome.
you're muted. Tia, you're muted.
Yeah,
Hey,
good over here.
you're good?
Yeah.
Good. All right.
Even Paul is drinking. Paul is drinking. I see him.
Nice.
Good. I'm drinking with you. And I always busy doing things, and I never look at people. It's cool to look at people.
Yeah, it's hard to see everybody on the screen, but it's fun to see people cooking too. Yep.
Anita, how's Anita doing? Good?
Yeah. All right,
There you
drinking
go.
wine. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna turn the heat very low now on my mushroom because I don't want to overcook them. They're nicely done, and I like to have this little cream that they created. I don't want this to evaporate too much. I want to keep it, so I'm done with me cooking my mushrooms.
Mm.
I'll just leave it here.
Yeah, I turned mine down.
So we just have to wait 8 more minutes
Oh boy.
for our chicken. So we'll take questions or comments, even comments, critiques.
Make sure you tell people about yourself, Aldo. Like, you're Italian, but you grew up in France, right? Or spent
Yes,
some
I'm
time in
Italian,
France?
but I'm lucky enough that I grew up in Paris, so je parle français couramment. And I mean, pure luck. that I was born in Venice, but my parents, after a few months, I was born actually in Italy by mistake because I was born December 8th, and my parents were already living in France for a lot of years, but my mother went back to Italy to visit her family, and for Christmas time, and then I happened to be born in Venice, December 8th. My sister was born in Paris. So after a few months, I was already back in Paris, and that's where I grew up. So I'm lucky because with no effort, I learned 2 languages naturally. So it's
More than I know.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I only know kind of some of the basics. Bonjour.
Yeah, bonjour.
That's about it.
That's about it. But, so yeah, so that's why, and that's also. I mean, I'm pretty attached to the country. I have a lot of very, very close friends. I visited, of course, and traveled the country many, many times in a lot of different areas of France. And I kind of like the cuisine, the French cuisine. I still prefer the Italian one for a lot of reasons. I think the Italians is more variety than the French one, but there are definitely, of course, a lot of good things to take from the French cuisine, or just to mix them up.
Yeah.
It's also another things that you can do.
Have you done many cooking classes in France? Or what kind of tours do you guys do?
Yeah, of course, during the trips. I mean, that's how you learn things when you do cooking classes, and from chef or but even from kind of my extended family that I grew up with. My 2 families were very close, and being French, I learned a lot from Michelle, which I consider like my second mom, and she just was cooking all the time. So I kind of grew up learning those things naturally.
Mm-hmm.
The same way I learned the Italian one from my mother or from my grandma, mostly like helping her doing things, because I like to help her cutting stuff or mixing whatever she asked me to mix. I was just helping. And at the time, I didn't really understand the process. It was just, I found things to do with your grandma. But I guess it kind of stuck to me. And at some point, I kind of realized that it was not really realizing, but I probably something that I gain interest in learning how to cook and make those dishes. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cooking is nice. I mean, you learn a lot about the culture, you learn a lot about people. It's a fun things to do with people together. I mean, this one now we're doing everything by ourselves, but if you have a few people that will just help you out, I mean, you cut the time in half.
Yeah.
Sometimes someone can already, cook the mushrooms and the bacon while the other one is doing the chicken, and boom, I mean, you're just cutting the time. So it's just a nice bonding activity that you can do with friends, family, whoever you like.
That's what Tia's kind of doing. She invited her friend and her friend's daughter over, and they're all cooking together.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right, Tia?
That's beautiful.
And it's been nice because, I can hand something to Christy and she can hand it to Barbara, and we don't have to walk all over the kitchen to get everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we're all like at the same point because we're all waiting. I see Debbie and John, they sit down, so we're all waiting for the chicken. Right?
Somebody's getting something from the fridge. They're thirsty. Yeah, no, these classes have been great. So Anita said she thanked you, and I thank everybody for helping us put on these classes. They've been really fun. We only have one more to go. Next week is Portugal, and can't remember what we're making right now.
Portuguese
I don't remember either.
Portuguese rice.
Oh yeah. I can only remember the thing that we didn't want to make.
It's another classic that you'll find.
Yeah, Portuguese rice.
Yeah, the recipes that we did so far are some recipes that when you go into the country, you can find it everywhere, but also maybe this one you can find in the US, but the other ones are, a little rare to find in the US, but also very simple. And that's why we picked those so you can impress your guests with something that they probably never eat anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why we picked those recipes. But if you want to add more classes, I enjoyed them. So whenever you want.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. The travel requests are picking up a little bit, so it's a little bit less time on our side to host them. But hey, we're open. We're open.
Anita says an Italian one. I guess
He was another Italian.
after Portugal, we can go back. We finish the circle and we can go back to Italy.
Yeah. I remember when I was in Italy, I took a cooking class there, and we made pasta, and that was a little intimidating for me because I had never made pasta before. But it was super easy, really fun. We made ravioli. We made kind of like tortellini, little hat, things. They called it something else because it wasn't quite the right. It looked like tortellini, but it wasn't tortellini, so I don't know what it was. But it was really fun, really delicious, really easy.
No, it's very easy. You can do that as well. Again, it's also a little, time consuming, and you need to have the tools because you can do everything by hand. It just takes a lot of effort to do the dough, or you can use like a KitchenAid kind of tool to do it, and also to do the dough. I mean, a KitchenAid will help you out to make it very thin, but if you do it by hand, it's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah. And I don't know if any of you watched the Chef Table on Netflix, this series.
Anita's yes.
One of the earlier series, there's this very famous Italian restaurant, and the chef is called Alessandro Bottura from Osteria Francescana in Italy. And you see this old lady making by hand, Anita, with the roll, like super thin. And that's how the heck do you do that? And that takes so much time and expertise and skills.
And they do, each one is uniform. They're all the same size. They just got that motor skill down so that it's perfect every time.
Yeah. So it's some things that just require a lot of skills. I'm definitely not at the level of that lady. So I have to use the tools. So I use the KitchenAid, and I put the dough inside and it becomes very thin. But if you really want to do it the old way, you have to do that one by hand with a very long, how do you call this one? I don't remember.
Oh, rolling pin.
Yeah, but she had like a super long one to go all the way on this table with a very big dough. It was unbelievable.
Wow. I cannot wait to be traveling again. I cannot wait to go to Italy.
Well,
and France.
Honestly, I think it's going to happen. I mean, I think that right now, yes, we're a little slow on this vaccine, but I think everybody understands the urgency. So I'm very confident that numbers of people vaccinated will go up. And in Italy, I have to say that it is in Europe the country that has already the most vaccinated people. I mean, they passed 1 million, which of course in proportions, you cannot, do it versus the United States because there's 350 million. In Italy, we're like 50 and something million. So in proportion, it is the highest number in Europe. So they're going pretty well. Other countries are a little behind, but I'm pretty sure that it's just gonna go. It'll
happen.
It'll happen pretty fast, and then we'll be there. The way we're gonna travel, I don't know. I mean, I read a lot of things about the passport, special vaccine passport or whatever procedure, but at some point it will be resolved, guys.
Yep. Tia, you had something to say?
Yes, but Ivan answered it. They were
Oh.
asking what was the name of the Netflix show that he had mentioned, but Ivan said
Chef.
it's Chef's Table. Yeah.
Yeah, Chef Table, amazing. And there's a new one that it's about the barbecue, people doing barbecue. And it's just like you want to jump on the TV screen and eat that barbecue. It's just unbelievable, unbelievable, the skills that they have. So, yeah.
Are we ready? Are we good?
I think we're ready. I mean, we have 2 minutes on my timer, but I mean,
Okay.
we can,
I'm just curious. It's smelling really good.
I know it does, right? This is a tricky part because I don't want to burn myself.
Yeah.
And I don't
Okay.
have, because of the camera, I don't have a lot of space to move around. And I wish you could see, like, you don't see the behind the scene of what I have in front of me.
Chaos, yeah. I know.
Chaos.
Everything on that side of my kitchen has been shoved over, so I get it.
Oh my God, it's like here is, oh wow. Hopefully on the screen.
What? What?
No, I just saying that hopefully on the screen everything looks like clean and perfect.
Yeah, it does.
While in reality, it's in front of me, I have a mess.
No worries. No worries. All right. You're going to take it out?
I'm taking this out.
Okay. Hot.
It is hot.
Okay.
Hot and heavy. Hot and heavy.
Ooh, bubbling away. All right.
All right. So there is one next step that we need to do.
Yeah.
Because so when you cook the chicken releases some juices.
Okay.
So this, for our standards, it's probably a little bit too fluid. We want to thicken that.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, where's my tool?
Whew, look at all that steam.
So I'm going to take the chicken off of this. I'm just going to put them here with the mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
And just because I want to now take this broth and thicken it again with the beurre meunier.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm taking the chicken out and putting it with my mushrooms.
Of course,
Gotcha.
make sure that the chicken is cooked, but I think it's pretty cooked. I mean, mine definitely is.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, it should be.
Yeah.
Unless you have very large pieces, but yeah.
Mine was bubbling away. So yeah, and the meat is kind of almost falling off the bones.
Yeah, and then it's perfect.
Yeah. Woo. I got to be careful. It's going to fly right off the bones.
It's hot, right? So I'm going to take this. This is pretty hot, so I need to be careful, and I'm going to filter it. Do you see the filter? I'm going to filter it again.
Oh, wow. Okay. I got to set up my strainer again. I'm just going to use the same one that I used for the wine to strain out the wine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm literally running out of pans. So
Okay.
So
then you strained out the vegetables, is that right?
Yes, you see there's
And then
only
there's just only liquid? Okay.
I'm gonna put it on the heat again. And I'm gonna add the remaining of my beurre meunière that we did before. Beurre meunier.
Beurre meunier. It sounds so fancy.
Beurre meunier. Woo. And that's it. Just gonna mix this. You put the heat on medium, medium high. We're gonna give it a nice little extra reduction and consistency with butter and flour.
Okay. I got my vegetables strained off. And I'm going to add the rest of the fancy butter and flour mixture. Okay.
Yeah. So how do you know if you have the right consistency?
Mm.
No, you take a spoon.
Okay.
You see you have a little layer of it. But if you do it, if you go with your hand, you can actually see the track in a way.
Okay.
It means like it's thick enough. So that, you know, a little bit stays on your, and you can, it just sticks a little bit on your spoon. And you can taste it. I mean, you should taste it just to see if you have enough salt, enough pepper. I mean, mine tastes kind of delicious, honestly.
I got to taste it. Hold on. Got to get a spoon.
Yeah, it's bubbling a little bit. I'm just gonna reduce this just really a few more minutes.
Oh, yeah. It left a little stripe on my spoon.
It tastes good, right?
Yeah, it tastes pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it has to stick a little bit, you know, just a little bit on your spoon, and you know, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. We didn't add any salt or anything to this, did we?
No, I think to me, it's good.
I don't know if you need it.
No, right, for the bacon, I mean, adds to it, and I never feel
I'm
the need
surprised.
of it. I never feel the need of adding more salt on this for some reason.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I would have thought for
Yeah.
sure. I'm just going to do a little bit more pepper, but I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Because I ground my pepper. I didn't do the whole peppercorn, so
Yeah. So
I just want a little bit more.
Yeah. One of the things that we can do at this point is to add the mushrooms and the bacon that we cooked before into this broth.
Mm.
Just removing my chicken.
Removing the chicken again.
Removing my chicken again.
We're saving the vegetables, right? We're
gonna add them on it.
Yep.
Yeah. Now we're basically assembling everything. Everything goes together.
Okay.
If you want, you can add a little bit more cognac.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Just because we like alcohol.
I'll skip it because my kids will go, "What is this that you're adding to my meal?" Ooh. Okay, so I'm adding the mushrooms back to the wine
Yes.
sauce. Okay.
Yes.
It is a lot of steps. Yes.
I'll add the vegetables that I had in the pot.
Yeah. Okay, adding the vegetables.
That's it. And now you basically put into a plate, and I have a plate here. A piece of chicken. Like this. This nice, beautiful vegetables and gravy.
Oh, wow.
And there you go. Yeah.
Oh, that looks great, Aldo.
Yeah, and the coq au vin is finished.
Woohoo! We made it.
We made it.
Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us for so long.
That looks amazing.
Oh, my goodness.
Monica, you wanna, when we're ready, take it off so that we can have everybody show us theirs?
Oh, yeah, let me take Aldo off the spotlight here. I think that worked.
So
Yeah.
Stephanie says, thank you, Aldo. I would definitely tune in if you had your own cooking show.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to unmute and show us your dish, you have to talk so we can see your dish on the recording. But
It is so good.
if you want to take a picture,
There's ours, Debbie, Johnny.
oh, nice.
That looked amazing.
Yeah, my computer is hard to show you what mine looks like, so I'll have to share a picture later. Anybody else?
We've got Barbara's plating up hers. I'll show you hers in a second.
Here's ours.
Yes.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
Here's mine.
Here you go.
Oh, that looks delicious.
That really looks delicious.
You guys did awesome. Yay! You definitely take a picture of your creation and share it with us. You can email it to us. You can send it to us on Facebook, whatever works. So I am super happy. Thank you so much, Aldo, and your and Ivan too for coming in and sharing some tidbits with us. And thank you so much. We're gonna wrap it up because we've been cooking for almost 2 hours now. And it's time to eat, right?
It's time to eat.
Oh, look at Tia, what?
Yours? Do you see it?
Nice.
Yeah.
Let me try this.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because it's gonna end up.
Is that better?
Oh, yes.
That's much better. Yep.
Yeah. Nice. I'm going to say
All
hi
right.
to everybody. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
With my stuff here, like John style. Today.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great afternoon or evening. Bye bye.
Everybody,
There's some
have a good dinner. Bon appetit.
bon appetit. There's some veggies in there.